Jack, how's it going?
Good.
So today we got our friend Jack that just recently bought a truck, and I wanted to talk to you about a couple of things and maybe share your experience, because you told me a little bit about what you did and how you did and what you bought, and I thought it's interesting to just kind of sit around and talk about a few things. So
Yes.
we could maybe help out some guys that are looking for within that used 20,000 budget, I would say, right?
Yes.
So tell me first. Let's start from the beginning, just so everybody knows. What did you buy?
06 Volvo,
Okay.
670 with a D12, of course, manual, 10 speed. Not a Ethan Fuller, but a Matador
Okay.
transmission.
Which is fine. It's doable.
Same thing. Gets the job done.
Yeah, it gets the job done. It's a little more expensive, but I would say, what did you buy it for? What are you gonna do with it? Tell me some. I know more or less, obviously, the specifics of it, but like overview. If you could give me like a brief explanation.
So, the kind of a truck you can pretty much do anything with. I mean, you wouldn't want to do local, like super local, like rail, containers. You probably wouldn't want to do coast to coast with it either. You want to stay away from California with it for, specific reasons, but it's kind of like a mid-range truck. So
Yeah.
Midwest, you could run 600 miles there and back. You could do anything with
So
it. Pretty much.
regional work is what you're playing.
Regional
with, right?
work, yeah. Regional Midwest, yeah, you could say that. I'm still not sure what I'm gonna do with it. I'm just trying to take it step by step,
Good. Well, that's the goal, right? Everybody's trying to get better and better, and I like how you approached it. That's why I wanted to share your experience. But tell me, what's your experience in the industry? What do you usually do?
So I dispatch now. I'm still a dispatcher full time. On call not right now, so let's hope nobody calls me in the middle of this. But yeah, full time dispatcher I've been dispatching for 8 years. Before that, drove for 2 years. So when I started driving, I had a pretty bad actually driving record. So I got hired by a guy that didn't really care that much about that. He was just happy he had a driver.
Good.
So I was thrown in the deep end, like driving a truck with all kinds of problems, and I learned like after a month or two that I should probably have my own tools if I want to make some money instead of sitting around.
Yeah.
And so I did that the second time I came back. I had a toolbox and just whatever little hoses, things like that. Because why you're going to sit on the side of the road waiting 5 hours for a tow truck, do something that you can do yourself, At least limp your way to the truck stop where they can fix it properly and, keep on going. And as long as the wheels are spinning, you're making money. Why waste time?
So you're a hands-on guy that's not afraid to get dirty. And I saw that. I know how you get dirty, which is awesome that you're just like, whatever, I got to get under the truck. I got to get under the truck.
Sure. I mean, you can make money in the office. You can make money under the hood. It doesn't matter where you can make money. It's, people have their preferences, but there's money everywhere.
Why did you do the switch originally from driving to dispatching? Because you're trying to hop back into driving right now. So
easiest way. I had an opportunity to do it. Okay, I had somebody that said, "Hey, I wanted to do it." Like my thinking was, going from driving a truck to dispatching is getting closer to the cookie jar.
Mm-hmm.
You got it?
Yeah.
So I figured it'd be good to understand it from that side of things. And I just stayed at it for longer than I thought I would. I figured I'll do that for a couple of years and maybe then buy a truck or. Nobody knows what they're going to end up doing when they're like 20, 23. Really, you're just, working, making money and trying to figure it out.
So how long have you been a dispatcher for?
10 years.
10 years. Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Okay. So
long
now you're not afraid to jump in, just buy a truck and go start your own venture, right? Because that's what you're doing. Right?
I'm really scared actually, but you got to roll the dice at some point, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's I'm not gonna buy a truck and I'm 50 and try to figure it out. Right now, I think it's a good time. It's never gonna. it's never gonna get better than this. I figured might as well, jump at it. That's why I really didn't know a whole lot about. Not until I started talking to you and watching your podcast. That's when I really started to understand the mechanics of what truck you want to buy, with what kind of mileage, what years, things like that. From your podcast comes 90% of my knowledge. Okay, honestly. So
okay.
And yeah, so that's what I based pretty much what I bought on is what you told me, and then I kind of verified it by talking to other people, asking them what they bought. We have drivers, and the company I'm currently working for, we have drivers that had their own trucks, and things didn't go well for them, and now they're back, working for us. Other places, I have a lot of friends, obviously if they've been doing this for 10 years, people that drive trucks, that had trucks, that, want to buy trucks,
Did they tell you I was wrong? How many guys tell you?
A couple guys told me that, no, you don't want a D12, get a Cummins, some people say, Cat's the best engine, parts are more expensive. So everybody has their own preference, really. Mm-hmm. So if somebody doesn't know what they want, you pretty much want to get as much information as you can, and just if you want to buy a Cummins, you're gonna buy a Cummins. You're not gonna have anybody change your mind. Your Cummins guy, fine. If you really want to be practical, then just figure it out. Like you said it a million times in a bunch of episodes that D12 is the way to go. It's a bulletproof engine, this, that, and the other. And a lot of guys will verify that. They'll be like, yes, that's the engine you want to go with.
And so that was my question. I was gonna ask you, what makes a Cummins guy or D12 guy, right? Because you ultimately made that decision to go with the D12, and what do you think makes a guy that how did you go about it, finalizing, okay, this is my choice, this is what I'm going to stick to? Because I did the same thing. So
when I started looking at trucks, like really started to look at them and going out and talking to the guys that had them, I was kind of all over the place. I would look at trucks that Detroit's, D60 series, Volvos, like 98, 99 Volvos, and then 2012 Volvos, so I wasn't really focused on what I wanted. I just wanted to see what people were selling for, what kind of, for the money that they were selling them for. And it was really peculiar to me why people are selling trucks that are 20 years older for freaking, 20 grand. I mean, ELD is a thing, okay, I get that, but it's a freaking beat up 20-year-old truck. It's got to be rusted. It's got to have, if not most of the components around the engine replaced. Why is it still that much money,
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of them. I don't know how many, pre-ELD trucks I saw, but it was at least maybe around 10. And that's not as many as you've seen in your life, but after a while, I figured, I don't think I want to go that crazy. I don't have a $50,000 toolbox in my garage that I want to mess with all that. So those are older trucks. If somebody's a real, grease monkey, go that route. But if you really want to be practical, you want to pick something that's not going to break, but it's kind of newer than that, I guess.
Okay, that's interesting. So, have you seen any pre-ELD trucks that you almost pull a trigger on? Because what you're saying is interesting, because I think, the older the truck, the simpler it is. Either or, you're going to need some kind of knowledge and skill set to work on a truck just to get you by and fix little things, right? But have you found the truck that was pre-ELD that you were like close to, or none of them were? Because 10 is in your buying process. That's a lot of trucks just pre-ELD. Because I know you've seen a lot more that were newer than 2001.
Yeah.
And so overall, you saw a lot of trucks, right?
Yeah, the most trucks I saw, I want to say I saw about 30 trucks, and most of them were from like 2004 to 2007, 8, something like that. So 2006, 7 Volvos, VNL 670s, manual D12s were about 80% of all the trucks that I went out and looked at.
What was the logic behind that? What was you thinking? I'm just gonna go out and look at trucks? Tell me about that.
Well, the logic behind looking at those particular trucks was those engines were apparently, to me, I've been told, bulletproof. Manual transmissions, yeah, you gotta move the stick around, but compared to manual transmissions, automatic transmissions are much cheaper to fix and don't break down as often. Apparently, with the automatic, you're probably better to comment on that than me. But
what I want to dig into is because, and I don't really mean specifically D12s in general. I know you saw variety, right? And you would even sometimes text me, "Hey, I'm going to see something. I know I'm not going to buy it, but I'm going to see it anyway." That's what I want to dig into. So tell me about that.
Okay, because like if I knew I wasn't gonna buy a truck, I still went out to see it because I wanted to see what it was like. If the guy was willing to sell it and he wanted, he was okay with spending an hour with me, walking around the truck or whatever. Oh, and by the way, another tip is don't waste guys' time. Okay, don't.
We'll get to tips. We'll get to tips. Just finish
exactly.
Just finish why you did that because it's interesting.
Just to kind of get experience in looking at trucks, okay? Because it's. Remember the first truck I came here with, the green Volvo? Yeah. I was ready to go to the bank and get the cash out and give the guy the cash and just have the truck sitting in my lot, and moving the process forward. And only where you told me it's out of a 10, this is a 5. I was like, whoa, what do you mean? Why is it only a 5? To me, it's a 9.5, It's granted it's got some rust, it's not a new truck, but for the money, it's a 9 at least for me. And
do you want to share what was it?
Yeah, 780. What year was it? 07, right? 07, I think it was 07, 780. 13 speed, D12, decent tires. I mean, the guy put a lot of money into it. Like he showed me a folder with all the parts changed.
He was solid. Yeah,
I was
good
like,
owner.
Damn.
But do you remember what was wrong with it?
Yeah, it had a pretty big rust problem.
Rust that we found, but then one of the other ones was that it was converted.
Yeah,
and then we just started piling up and looking more for the no's than the S's, and then we're like, okay, the conversion wasn't really what I was. The rust was the reframe was pretty bad in one spot particularly.
Well, that's the one thing you can't swap, right?
You could reinforce it. It's just not worth it. I think I've shared it before. I've lost some trucks to rust that were low mileage. It's just not worth the cabs and especially the frame.
Yeah,
it's just extra work. But in that case, we just found that the head was actually swapped at some point. I think even and the transmission was converted from automatic to manual, and that's always, if it's not done properly, then you're gonna have some issues.
And wiring, everything else.
Yeah, and then the rust, we found that the frame right under. It was exhaust passenger side frame underneath the cab, and it was not that hard to miss. We could see it, but for some reason, I don't know.
I miss a lot of stuff. If you give me all the time in the world, I'll probably see everything. But there's only so much time you have when you're looking at a truck.
True.
The guy's not going to give you 3 hours to look at every screw and bolt. So I missed a lot.
So tell me, what was the time frame that you saw all the plus 30 trucks? What was the time frame between?
Oh, from when I started.
When you started looking to when you bought it, yeah.
About 3 months, maybe less.
So not only that's impressive, that's also wintertime. So every truck you saw was at night.
Yeah. Oh, it was fun laying underneath the truck in the snow, checking the transmission, checking all the leaks. But I didn't give a damn, It's I can always wash my jacket. But if I have to swap the transmission, it's going to be more expensive than getting your clothes, washed.
Yeah.
That was my thinking.
Yeah. No, but that's why...
guys were like, what the hell are you doing? I was under the truck, moving the drive shaft for everything else. They're like, what are you doing, man? You're going to get dirty. I was like, yeah, don't worry, man. This is an investment,
So
I don't mind.
Perfect. So we established you looked at about 30 trucks, and you did treat it as a learning curve for you and as a upping your skills in looking at things and finding things that are wrong with the truck. Is that correct? Would you agree?
And I was only about the trucks I wasn't. I was pretty sure I wasn't gonna buy. They were still, and the specs were still as you know the specs were still the same as if I would buy the truck. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
say somebody was selling a truck for 25 grand. I would still go out to see it, even though it was outside my budget. But it was
Yeah.
the same specs that I was looking for. So
Okay.
for me, that truck would have to been perfect. Not a thing would have to be
Yeah.
done to it. Just road ready and then some. Bose speakers. I don't know what else.
Yeah.
For that kind of money.
Well, you
in my
did send
mind.
me a truck that. Do you remember that emission truck? You sent
The
me
red one or which one?
No,
Oh
the-
no, the one that was in Wisconsin. Yeah, it was I think
09.
09, yeah. And you said that's a D13. You
First gen.
Get your head straight, man, because you're
Yeah.
gonna have problems with that.
Yeah,
That's-
and then the price was okay, but again, it's when you were in that bracket in that price bracket, it wouldn't be, in my opinion, a good move. Like I mentioned a couple times before, and so let's go back a little bit because I do want to share a little bit more. Because what tools and how did you go about actually, looking at all the 30 plus trucks? Was there any type of system that you came up with or tools that you use? What did you do?
At first, no. I was just kind of going out and looking at trucks. I just would message. Well, what you want to do is definitely schedule an appointment. Like I dispatch for a living, I know how important appointments are. So you want to and working full time, you want to make sure that the guy is there and you're there at the same time. So it came to a point. So at first I was just like, all right, I see you next Thursday. Next week, whatever. But then it came to a point where I would schedule. One Saturday, I looked at 4 trucks in one day. I looked at a truck the night before, and then I looked at 2 more trucks the following day. So within 3 days, what is that? 7 trucks. I had to utilize Google Calendar
Good.
and get appointments.
Awesome.
So I wouldn't be all over the place. I don't want to have guys waiting for me 2 hours because you don't want
Yeah,
to
you
have
respect
angry.
somebody's time. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I expect the same from others. So yeah, why waste somebody else's time? Also it came to a point where I saw like maybe after like truck number 20, I started to catalog everything with a spreadsheet. Okay. And I looked at the spreadsheet just now. It's all Volvos, I think it's like out of 10 that are on there, 8 are 670s, only 2 780s. 670s and 2 780s. 8 out of 10 were D12s, 2 were Cummins. I don't know why I went to out and see the Cummins, but I figured if I'm not going to buy it for the engine, maybe everything else is perfect. And
We're gonna get Cummins hate speech. We do like Cummins changes.
no, I'm
These
saying,
seconds.
the Cummins, I know guys that told me, why'd you buy a D12? You should have wanted
Yeah.
the Cummins. It's more customizable. One guy, this is how one guy explained it to me. Cummins is Android. D12 is iPhone. That's how one. What do you think about that?
Say that
analogy?
again. Say that.
A Cummins is like an Android for as far as phones go, and D12 is Apple, so it's less customizable.
That's
but
an
it's
interesting
more,
analogy, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
but
I
you
was
have
like,
an Android phone, so
yeah. Well, I know more about phones than trucks. You know what I mean?
okay. And you would still go with Android?
Yeah.
So you didn't? Why did you listen to me?
Maybe at some
My
point.
entire office runs on Mac.
That's fine. That's all right. I mean, if when maybe at some point when I have, a couple of trucks or, a little fleet or something, I'll start to go, and looking at Cummins. But for the first truck, you want to get something bulletproof. Yet still stuff is still going to break down. Like the truck I bought is at a mechanic right now. They're changing. They found a oil pressure sensor. And what else are they? They did the oil change. They're just trying to find problems with it, so that I don't have to find problems on the road on the side of the road.
Have them do the overhead. Did you tell them with the overhead adjustment?
Yeah, but they don't have a guy that.
They can do it. Okay, I'll do it for you if you want. But when Jose's back, Jose, I just wanted to mention, brother, we miss you. He had a minor thing going on that he couldn't make it, but
he's an awesome
get better.
tech.
Get better.
Get better, man.
and hopefully you'll be back here recording soon with us. But he had to rest at home. He got a little sick, so he's gonna be out of it really soon. So what I was gonna so good. So we'll look into that. You're not in a rush because you're doing everything. You have a plan of action, right? Tell me, are you going independent? Are you gonna lease to a company or what's
independent? 100%. I've been doing this long enough to know how to set up your MC and how to do it all by yourself.
Okay.
So
good. You applied? You already have everything rolling?
I'm just waiting for everything. So
okay, good.
I have a 999 MC actually that I opened but never activated it. So it doesn't matter much nowadays, but whatever.
Well, we can talk about that. There are some things you could do. So you had a calendar, you had a Google spreadsheet, all the info. What info did you put on the spreadsheet? What was it? Just specs, or actually no? How was
everything? Just let me glance at it. Just so
you could send it to me and we can share it in the video. Obviously.
Yeah, it's so column left to right: make, model, year, engine, trans, miles, listed price, and the price I actually. Everybody's going to list a truck for example, if somebody listed for 15, you can probably talk them down to 14, unless they're like, no, firm 15. But, if you know how to negotiate, that goes without saying. Yeah. Location, because if a truck's down the street versus a truck that's 100 miles away, you still, if you're trying to, schedule these appointments, you want to see where you're going. If the truck is pulling loads currently or is it sitting, that was important too. The truck I bought when I was looking at it, when I saw it, it just came back from Detroit.
Yeah.
Most trucks that I saw were sitting. Mm-hmm. That's why I didn't buy them. So,
obviously. We'll get that because it's an interesting story how we bought it. Okay.
Yeah. Also contacts, and after I saw the truck, I will go back to my spreadsheet and make notes like how are the tires, how was everything else, things mm-hmm. that if everything was standard, I didn't put it on there because there's no point in writing notes that
of course,
but like things like there was rust, a lot of rust, good tires, bad tires, little rust, things like that were on there.
What did the spreadsheet help you with other than the organization?
It helped me to see the big picture because when you're going to forget what you saw, 2 weeks prior, you're going to think you're going to go see a different truck, but mm-hmm. it's the same truck with, if it's the same miles, same price, just a different color, it's pretty much, they're all the same. Volvos aren't, well, they're not all the same. Let me correct myself. They're not all the same, but I saw a lot of trucks that were pretty much same damn thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So tell me some of the hard things that you experienced, or if you remember any of one of the hardest things or a couple of them that were like, dang it, about buying a used truck in that price range.
Believing people in what they were actually selling, Some guys would just be like, you do your thing, see what you want to see. I'm going to be right here. Let me know if you got any questions. Those were the guys that I liked the most because they would like me, take my time looking at everything. Some guys were like, they were just, behind my back and they were just, talking, I was supposed to be pulling light loads and, actually I was pulling no loads. This is like, what are you talking about?
Pulling empties,
I'm trying to sell it for, 16, but I like you, I'll sell it to you for 14. Like, man, what? We've been talking for 5 minutes, what are you doing? Anyway, so, the guys would like come up, they would tell me different things just to sell the truck. And it's hard, the guy, it's hard to, it's hard to say if somebody's lying or not. If
mm-hmm.
if they know how to lie, it's hard.
And it's so as you started looking at trucks, at what point you were like, I'm calling your BS?
I would never confront the guy. I would look at him and be I know you're lying, but why?
Of course. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, like to yourself, like, the guy's trying to really sell the truck, has some things going on. Because
They're leaving the country. I was like, you're leaving the country, but you have 2 more trucks that you're working with. What the hell?
Yeah.
The story doesn't add up.
So did you get more sensitive to that kind of BS later on?
Yeah.
The more you saw it, the more you were like,
I was like, man, if you have 4 trucks and you're selling this one in particular, why is that? You know, what's wrong with this one? The question you want to ask yourself is, what is wrong with this truck? Why is this guy trying to sell this truck? Is that there's really something wrong with it, or is he really, upgrading? Or it's a fleet truck and they're just getting rid of the older ones, or what's going on, because some guys are trying to just sell their truck and they're honest,
of course,
but not all of them.
So good. So just pretty much guys schmoozing you was that's something that stuck with you, but is there anything else that you would think right now, looking back and thinking that was hard? Obviously, you don't mind crawling under trucks in winter and snow, and
there were a lot of things you can't check everything out when you're like in a field in somebody's yard. You can you can check kingpins. You gotta lift the truck. You gotta that's why I only brought 2 trucks here for you to do a pre-purchase. The third one was a post-purchase. So 2 pre-purchases.
Well, we did a pre-purchase on the phone.
The 2 trucks that I brought here for a pre-purchase, I was ready. I was like, if you guys can't find nothing wrong with them, then that's a truck. And thank God I brought them here, because I would have bought a truck that I would have problems with.
Tell me about the second one we brought here, because I don't.
Yeah, you weren't here. That was a red. That was a 670 Volvo. Pretty much the same truck that I have now. Only when Jose did a compression test on it, and I saw the results, I was like, okay, wow, I did not see that. I could feel it when I was driving it empty, that it didn't have a lot of power. I was like, man, there's no even empty trailer behind me, and this thing is taking forever to get some speed. But I guess maybe that needs an oil change. I don't know. Whatever. We'll figure it out when you guys check it, and you guys figured it out very quick. Yeah.
That's So okay. So what would you say people should know when buying, other than what you mentioned, a few things already, but that in that price range, what do you think people that are looking for a truck like that should know right off the bat? That if you knew starting, what are some of the tips that you would want to know?
Get familiar with things that are uncommon sense. So, for example, go online and see how much parts like compressors, fuel pumps, oil pumps, alternator starters. Figure out how much those cost. For that truck that you're buying. If you're gonna buy a newer truck, that's a different maker model. Prices are pretty much the same, but most guys are clueless. They don't even know how much a starter is. You tell them it's $500, they'll pay.
Why is it beneficial to know?
Because when you're looking at the truck and the guy's like, nothing's been swapped other than the alternator. If it's got 1.5 million miles on it, then you're gonna have to swap those. So parts, and also figure out how long it takes, labor wise, how long it takes to do, because some things will take 4 hours to swap, others a day and a half. Depends.
Okay, so why is that beneficial? We talked about because you want to know if nothing was swapped, and if you're looking at a truck that you're interested in, you know how much money you're gonna have to spend on those parts, right?
Yeah.
Which is very.
Like, you can find a truck for $5,000. You really can. That will maybe even start when you turn the key. But there's a reason why somebody's trying to sell it for that. And there's a reason why you'll see a truck with the same specs for $20,000 posted somewhere.
Exactly, and. So
that was the hardest thing for me, I think, is figuring out why is this truck so damn cheap and why is this truck so damn expensive? Why is the price of the difference? The parts and reasons why people sell them. Some guys really were trying to just push the truck and just get rid of it ASAP. That's why they had a low price, and I just didn't like the truck, so I didn't buy it. But some guys, and some guys were really proud of what they were selling. That's why they didn't care if they would not sell the truck this year even. Some guys said, hey, if the truck's not running now, but if I don't sell it now, I'm going to start driving it in the springtime or whenever, the market picks up, which I don't know that made sense all the time, because the market, this year I think was all right, pretty much the whole time. So
have you asked any of the guys that you were buying what they were doing with the truck?
yeah, but they could tell me anything.
They could tell you anything, but just maybe getting a little bit more context, because obviously if the truck's sitting for a while, that's also a red flag, I think, right?
Yeah.
If the guy has the truck sitting for years.
Yeah.
If you're selling something that's been just running recently, or it is running, and you've mentioned that in the, previously, you have to have the BS radar, right?
Yeah.
If you can, and that the BS radar gets sharper, the more trucks you see.
That's why I remember we were on the phone the other time, and you said, "Why are you going out to see a truck that you're not going to buy?" Because I wanted to sharpen that radar,
Yeah.
I wanted to.
I knew what you were going to do. I just wanted to see what you were going to say.
Yeah.
Because it is. I mean, it's unusual, and that's how it'll. Not everybody. Look, you've dedicated to buy a truck that's going to help you start something, and you committed the time to do it, right? What I can tell you from experience, it's a complicated process, and it's hard, and people just pull the trigger on the first thing they like or they see, and that's what's giving them a lot of problems. If it's not excluded that you're not gonna have problems with your truck, but at least you did enough homework and you did enough, but you at least feel good with what you bought. And when you actually went to look at that truck and we talked on the phone, I really wanted to see how you're going to go about it. I think you bought a really good truck, and you have a picture. You sent it to me. We can plug it in here. You probably have a picture somewhere.
I'll take a really nice picture of it because I'm really happy with it.
And we could show, tell me the story, how you bought it and what happened.
So just another day, me after work, I went to the barber to, get my hair cut, whatever. And I'm sitting there in line, and I'm scrolling through Facebook Marketplace, and I see this truck. Guys got it posted for a decent price. It's the specs that I'm looking for. I'll hit him up. And I texted him, hey, I think I texted him, you always want to start a conversation so that at least you get a reply, because I don't know how many guys I messaged that didn't even reply to me. Yeah. And it wasn't like a hard question. It was like, you don't want to say, is it available either? Because that's like the stock, whatever question.
The pre-programmed question.
You can message 100 people like that within 10 minutes. So be like, I would ask what people wouldn't. Oh yeah, another thing. People would post trucks with they would have a picture of a truck with no specifics on the engine or transmission or miles or nothing. They just had 4 pictures of the outside and great truck, come see it. So people like that even want to message, but half of them I did.
So you messaged the guy.
Yeah, I messaged the guy, and he's like, call me. And I'm like, what's your number? And he didn't reply. I said, here's my number. He called me. He was driving the truck back from Detroit here. And he's like, I'm trying to sell this truck. I got 2 guys coming in to look at it tomorrow morning. But they want me to have the title in hand. So I think they were going to buy it. So if you want to see it, either be here earlier than them or something. I said, well, damn, I got work tomorrow. Yeah. I really like your truck. Can I see it tonight? He said, I really want to go home, to my wife and kid. I said, please, man, I'm really, I don't know, I'm really interested in your truck. Please let me look at it. He said, fine. I told the barber, I think I'm going to get my hair cut some other time. See you later. He was like, okay, that's weird, but whatever. I went out, saw the truck, and I was looking at it. Guy was really cool. And he said, man, if you're still thinking about it, then I got to go. I said, I think I'm going to pull the trigger on it, because I've seen over 20 trucks with those specifics. I think this is as good as it's going to get, and I don't want those 2 guys to get my truck tomorrow, Yeah. So I figured, it
was late at night. It was cold.
Yeah. Thanks for being with me on the phone and help me with that.
You got it, but.
You didn't say. I asked you. You didn't say buy that truck or don't buy that truck.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I would never do that. I think it's more about. I wanted to help you answer some of the questions you had around looking at the truck, and I think what you I think when you started looking at the truck and that the guy actually came back from the trip, that was a big because you saw how the truck was used. You saw the owner. You saw that he kept driving with it, and it was well taken care of, right?
Mm-hmm.
All those things I know when we were on the phone, we were like, okay, those are good, like big pluses for that truck. So tell me more. So you walked around. What happened?
I couldn't find a problem with it. That's what happened.
Yeah.
That's what made me buy the truck. I was like, man, there's nothing like. Yeah, obviously it's a truck with over 1 million miles. So yeah, you're gonna see some things and this, that, and the other. Volvos are always have the rusted door, whatever panel. The guy took care of that himself. He had a little customized, I guess, aluminum piece there.
Mm-hmm.
He said he did it himself. So I was like, okay, well, you really if you did that, then you probably did a lot of other things that most guys wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
So this means this truck is well taken care of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and then what you bought it, right?
I was like, man, I'll be here tomorrow morning with cash, and please have the title. I'll see you. Let's make the deal.
Okay.
And
Awesome.
I was driving home pretty happy. I could hardly sleep that night.
did,
I was like,
yeah.
man, please don't let this guy sell this truck to somebody else.
You did, and
was like-
I remember the next day we talked, and you were like, "Hey, I bought the truck. I'm not gonna say I knew you were gonna buy it. I just thought, that you will make the right decisions for yourself, and ultimately seeing it next day when you brought it, it looked like a really good truck. I would say that the only thing would be the rust, just because it was at night, and I don't think you could thoroughly check everything, but it was actually pretty good. The frame was healthy, and the truck was well taken care of. So
Yeah.
good, definitely a good job buying that truck.
I've seen
I
some
can tell
better
you that.
frames, but yeah, this was good enough too. I was like, it's not gonna rust through. It was good enough. I thought.
Yeah, so good. So now you have a truck. So what are your goals now? What are you gonna do?
Well,
Other than what we talked about, looking for work, and what's your long-term goal?
long term.
Mm-hmm.
Long term is buy a second one,
Okay.
and a third.
So
guys. Yeah, I know some guys just want to buy a one truck and they just want to put it in a company. That's fine. Yeah, that's one way to go about it. Just have somebody else dispatch you, and that's the easy way. I'm gonna.
What are you going
I'm gonna
for?
get my ass kicked. Because you probably got to beep that out. Whatever. I know. I know. I will. Long term, but that's fine. Let's buy a couple of trucks and have a company that's more honest than others, I guess, because dispatching for all the companies I worked for, I've seen some things that I just don't want to deal with that. Working as a dispatcher, you're kind of forced to not say the truth all the time, I guess would be the right way to say it. So yeah, if you have your own company, you're running it the way you want to run it. I've seen there were a lot of times where I would not do the things that my boss decided to do, which he's the boss, he's going to tell you to,
you have to do it,
to lose money. The company's going to lose money. It's his money, but why,
Yeah. Well, you're speaking my language, because that was the reason I started Era, and the same thing. I saw a lot of behavior around that I didn't like, and as a driver, and it was just like, well, I know it can be done better. Yeah. And that's why I think it's valuable to have that goal, and what you are setting out to do is, not only focus on making money, which is important, but you're committed to actually create some kind of a different company and make a change and make it better, a little bit better. And I always say, if you can make anything a little bit better, everybody would be better off. Right, if you create a better product, if you share, if you treat different people differently,
leave the world a little better than when you
found it.
There you go. Something like that.
That's a good quote. But congrats, man! I think you definitely have a good truck to start. We'll see what's gonna happen with your second purchase or whatever things you're planning to do. I think you have a good enough truck that you could even find a driver and then start thinking about something else and grow your fleet, which I wish you
start converting into gliders.
Maybe. I don't know. I need to figure out more. I need to find more trucks, to be honest with you, but
There's plenty out there. Yeah.
And so ultimately, any final tips that you think about and you would want to share with everybody? Other than we've covered a lot, we've covered a decent amount, and I would say anything else that we missed. I'm trying to think of anything that, thorough inspections, respecting somebody's time.
I know guys are going to be scared to pull the trigger on trucks. Like you said, don't buy the first truck that you see. Guys are going to be scared to buy the truck in the whatever 12 trucks there, 12 truck that they're looking at. They're going to think it's good, but they're going to be sure about it. Sebastian here has a service. I know you're busy now, but you guys, I know if you have a minute, you can do
we do pre-purchase inspections. Yeah, I have somebody actually that we use for pre-purchase inspections. So as our shop, yes, we do pre-purchase inspections.
Yeah, I rolled the dice on my truck. I didn't do a pre-purchase inspection on the engine, but I figured I don't need to. This one's gonna be fine. The engine is running. Oh yeah, listen to the engine when it's running. Like when you start the truck, listen to the ticks. I heard a lot of engines they were making noises I never heard.
Yeah, which is interesting. You're saying that because across the 30 trucks you saw, if you have an ear for it, you will see the difference in how D12s run.
Yeah,
because you primarily sell D12s, and that's funny because when I hop in any of my D12s or when I was buying them, I heard how they ran because I've been in so many of them that you can really make your ear, okay, there's a leak somewhere, or there's something's going on. There's a boost leak. There's an exhaust leak. There's different.
That's why you're the expert. Just listening to it, you can tell what's wrong with it. Yeah. Most guys don't know what it's supposed to sound like at all.
That is a good point. I think you're missing one more. We're missing one more tip that we haven't talked about, and is the people around you.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So make sure people support you. Make sure nobody's, telling you, hey, this is a bad idea, to buy the truck. My wife she's really helpful. She's really supportive. She's like, I'm super glad, you're doing what you want to do. My dad is also super helpful. He was a trucker in Poland. I know yours was too.
My dad was too. Yeah.
Yeah. My dad. Yeah. I remember he would pick me up from school. Even if we weren't going home, he was going the other direction. I was hopping with him. Yeah. There was a big sledgehammer, and I would use that as my stick shift. And I don't know what was going on. I don't know what he was doing, but I was doing the same thing. So yeah,
that's funny. My dad drove buses in Poland when I was a kid, and I remember learning about cars because I had a little stool next to him. Which is, can you believe that you could bring in communist Poland, you would bring a kid to a bus?
Somebody would get sued and fired.
But I was sitting with him in the bus, and he would tell me I will learn the cars, and I would just be with him at work. Sometimes a few days a week, just a little kid, he's sitting there, and I was cleaning the buses. So much fun, but the best memories, right?
Yeah, exactly. Good old times.
But the network, support network, and people that help you out in general. Family is one, but you didn't hesitate to reach out and dig deeper, with people, talking to mechanics, to guys that had experience.
Maybe to expand on your point,
me into helping you.
First thing is get your people, like get the people around you first in line. Make sure if you have a wife, make sure she's okay with you buying a truck. Don't buy a damn truck if your wife doesn't want you to be, if she wants, don't buy a truck and go over the road if she wants you to stay local, because that's a recipe for divorce. You know what I mean? Like, no joke.
It is.
Yeah.
You're 100% right. Yeah. That's something we rarely talk about, is your other half's opinion, or what are you trying to do? Are they in agreement with it? Because I've seen too many domestic issues because of the guys like, hey, I'm just not coming back for 2-3 weeks, and it is hard. But at the same time, if the guy is fine and then he didn't talk to his wife, hey, we plan, let's just understand that I'm going to be around.
There's couples like that. Some couples have no problem, with the guy being on the road for a month, making money, Yeah, as
long as you align your goals and everybody's fine with that. But the problem is when you're trying to buy a truck and you want to be home every day, and you're relying only on a local freight, which if you're limiting yourself to that, it's gonna be very hard to make it.
Yeah, that's
I've
what I
been
told
very
my
honest
wife.
with a lot of
I
guys.
told her I'm gonna try to be home every night, but if there's a $1 million load going, somewhere farther away every now and then, I'll tell you I won't be back.
$1 million, you said?
Yeah, maybe you know what I mean. Yeah, there's
you're gonna find some good rates, and if you're staying one night out, why not?
Yeah. So she understands.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Make sure you find a good mechanic too.
Good. Yeah. No, thank you. I appreciate you sharing your story. I think I'm pretty certain you bought a really, really good truck for the money you did. It was a very good price.
Yeah.
And I think you have enough budget to, work on it and make it ready and tweak it.
Yeah.
The harness is going to be something that we're going to have to look at, which is a data link that's where the issue is with the Volvo D12s. I just had a customer that I told him that I was like, it's very hard, especially now in winter. You can go in summer, you can go under your truck and start looking for those connections, corroded connections, and swap it yourself or fix it.
Okay.
But you're not going to make it a brand new harness. You just have to buy a brand new harness, which
isn't
costly.
cheap.
Yeah. Especially the main. And so, but you got a good truck. So, brother, thank you for sharing your story. I think, I would say good luck with your building a fleet. 'Cause that's something that's
Thank you.
going to be a lot of fun for you. And
it's going to be hard, but yeah, I'm ready.
You got it. With all the spreadsheets you have in prep. Thank you very much, brother.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.